no Neymar, no problem, because they were able to get the job done. Yes, it was a slim victory, 1-0 that ended, but it must be said as well that they also got the ball at the back of the net. Vinicius Jr. scoring in the 62nd minute, but that was ruled out for offside, and it was one of those marginal calls before Casemiro came up with the goods. And what a stunning strike that was for the Manchester United midfielder. For Brazil, they're now into the next round, and they'll be hoping that Neymar is able to have a part to play, even if not in the next round, but the quarterfinals, if they're able to get there. Quite impressive, it must be said. The Swiss once again proving to be, a huge challenge for Brazil. Remember last time at the World Cup, they played out a 1-1 draw between both sides. So Switzerland definitely not a pushover, especially for Brazil. It's difficult to call them the boogie team, but they are definitely a team to reckon with. We had Richarlison goal close at some points. Vinicius Jr. lively as always. You had Rodrigo coming as well to test the palms of Jan Sommer, the goalkeeper of Switzerland. Switzerland had their chances as well. Yes, maybe not as much as many rather as that of Brazil, but they had their chances. You had Emvril Mbolo, who got their opening goal against Cameroon and their only goal at this tournament. Gets close as well on about 2 occasions, but overall it was a relatively comfortable win for Brazil because they dominated proceedings and they weren't really caught napping on a handful of occasions, unlike the Swiss, who had a whole lot to deal with even in the absence of Neymar. So it's Brazil who are joining France in the next round of the competition in terms of teams that have confirmed their places. Rather, you still have so many teams yet to confirm their places. Another team that confirmed its place at the next round, talking about the knockout stage, round of 16, has to be Portugal. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo, right there in the mix, but Ronaldo didn't get a goal. At first, everyone thought Ronaldo got the opening goal, but both goals were scored by Bruno Fernandes, his Manchester United teammate. Fernandes getting the goal, the second goal from the spot after the ball was handled in the box for Uruguay. For Uruguay, the defeat definitely is not a good one, as it leaves them with just a point in this group, considering they drew their opening match against South Korea. So it's Portugal who have 6 wins, 6 points rather from a possible 6, and they booked their place to the next round. Quite a comprehensive performance, it must be said. They had so many chances, dominated proceedings from the beginning to the end. The Uruguayans just didn't live up to expectation in terms of their offensive outlets, and you have to give credit to how Portugal composed themselves in front of goal. João Felix had a bit of chances at some point, even netted, had to hit the side nets in there, but overall it was a comfortable win for Portugal, and they'll be looking to make it count, especially on the knockout stages where the competition gets more challenging, as it were. For Uruguay, as I said earlier, their work is definitely a huge task for them, because Ghana was able to defeat South Korea yesterday by 3-2. So that leaves Uruguay with a mountain to climb in its last match. Remember, it's Uruguay against Ghana. For Ghana, they have 3 points. They lost to Portugal, but the win over South Korea puts them on firm course to be able to qualify. They just need to get a good result against Uruguay in the next match. But for Uruguay, it's a must-win match if they stand a chance to qualify at all. South Korea, definitely also a point just as Uruguay, because they lost yesterday. Let's see how it pans out. Well, let's turn our attention now to today's matches. Quite a handful of them, and for all of the 8 teams involved, 7 of them still has a chance to qualify for the next round. So it shows you the magnitude of these matches in terms of how competitive it will be. 7 out of 8 teams can still make the next round, and that means there's so much to play. It's a high-stake encounter. Let's start with Senegal against Ecuador. Now, for Senegal against Ecuador, Ecuador are in a firm position to qualify for the next round. In fact, they are the favorites considering how they fared over the last 2 matches. Remember, there's also Netherlands against Qatar, but based on the quality of the teams, the players, and what we've seen over the last 2 matches, that should be a walkover for Netherlands. So you expect Netherlands to defeat Qatar and have 7 points from a possible 9, thereby booking their place in the next round. But Ecuador against Senegal is the big match. That's a match where Ecuador needs to just get a draw, and they will qualify regardless of what happens in the match against Netherlands or Qatar. But for Senegal, they cannot afford to get a draw in there, because that would mean that they are out of the competition. So they need to win. It's a must-win match. And when you look at the Senegalese, they've not really been convincing this tournament. Yeah, they had the chances against the Netherlands. They couldn't make it count in the opening game, and Edouard Mendy's howlers didn't help matters late on in that match as they succumbed to a 2-0 defeat. In the game against Qatar, it was a 3-1 win over Qatar, but considering that Qatar is in lesser position, it's difficult to judge the Senegalese over that. You expect Moises Caicedo of Ecuador, to break plays for Ecuador. Is a very good, ball-winning midfielder, one of the best in the Premier League, and you expect him to continue with that trend. So let's move to Group B, where, as I said earlier, all teams in there still have a chance of qualification. You have England, Iran, Wales, USA. All 4 teams have a chance to qualify. The English will be taking on their UK counterparts, if you want to call it that. I'm talking about Wales. Yes, it's England against Wales. Both teams are part of the Great Britain, or the United Kingdom as they are called. And this is a match where there's so much at stake for England. Their last match against the United States was not convincing. They didn't just turn up in terms of showing up the goods, especially offensively. Remember, Captain Harry Kane has also been battling with an ankle injury, although he tried to downplay that, saying the injury has just been hyped up like that of David Beckham and Wayne Rooney in time past at the Mundial, that this time around it's not something of grave concern. It's yet to be seen if Gareth Southgate would decide to give his captain the nod in terms of starting this match. It's a match they can't afford to lose. A win would definitely get them through. A draw as well will do enough to get them through, but a defeat would definitely leave question marks, especially if the other encounter goes one way or the other in terms of the other match between Iran and Wales. Remember, England have 4 points. You have Iran second in the group with 3 points. The United States have 2 points, and Wales has 1 point. So in the match against Iran, between Iran and USA, is a match that the United States of America needs to win. If USA wins, they qualify for the next round. If Iran is able to get a draw in there, that will put them at 4 points, and that would mean that the outcome of the England against Wales match would also determine, because if Wales defeats England, it means that 3 teams will be on 4 points. You'll have England on 4, Wales on 4, Iran on 4 points as well. Then we now get down to the permutations of goal difference, if it's still the same head-to-head and all of that. It is definitely an intriguing one. Let's see how it pans out today. Well, just before we wrap up, let's talk about club football, European football precisely, and in the Italian Serie A. It's all about Juventus at this time. Surprisingly, the entire board of Juventus has resigned from their role, and that's coming as a shock to so many. But considering the club has been under investigation for over a year now, yes, last year November, there was a proceeding opened against the club concerning player registration rights from 2019 to 2021, and this has to do with the revenues generated for from player registration rights between 2019 and 2021. The managing director of the club, Maurizio Arrivabe, will continue in his role pending the outcome of this appointment of a new board, and the stakeholders of the club will meet on the 18th of January 2023 to appoint a new board. In Formula One, the world of motorsports, yes, Ferrari's principal, Matteo Bonnitto, is leaving the team at the end of this year. And as I said earlier, that news broke out, quite a shock, it must be said. But considering the kind of season that Ferrari had, it's not surprising as well that Bonnitto will be leaving the team, having spent 28 years at Ferrari, where he rose from the the ranks up to the very pinnacle of administrative duties with the Formula One team. He was once the head of the engine department. At some point, he became the technical director of the entire team before heading the team, as it were. This year, Ferrari started a season quite on fire, with Charles Leclerc, their lead driver, being 46 points clear after 3 races into the Formula One season. But by the 6th race of the season, or by the end of the 6th race of the season, that lead had already vanished as he lost out to the defending champion Max Verstappen of Red Bull. And as a result of these issues, as well as race management errors on the part of Bonnitto and his team, it's quite understandable that he has to leave the role. You had engine failures in Spain as well as Azerbaijan. You also had race management errors in Monaco, Silverstone, Hungary. All of these issues costing Ferrari as well as Charles Leclerc the opportunity to win not just the Constructors' Championship for the team, but also win the Drivers' Championship, including engine failures as well. So it's Bonnitto who will be leaving, and you have Alfa Romeo Zanvasca, who has been deemed as the replacement. The team will meet in due time to seek a replacement for Bonnitto. Now let's turn our attention now to basketball. I talked about the Los Angeles Lakers squandering a 17-point lead at the wee hours of today, and that was against the Pacers. It was a game that was well controlled by the Lakers until the final 12 minutes, which is the fourth quarter, where they simply spiraled out of control and probably lapse of concentration. You had for the Lakers, Anthony Davis stopped scoring 25 points, had 13 rebounds as well. LeBron James had 21 points for them, as well as 7 rebounds, while you had Russell Westbrook with 24 points. But all of these couldn't count for them at the end of the day. They were beaten at the buzzer by Andrew Nembhard, the rookie, who stunned them. You had Tyrese Halliburton scoring 24 points with 14 assists to go with that effort. In terms of the Pacers getting a comeback win, as well as Benedict Mathurin scoring 23 points for the Pacers as well. The win takes the Lakers and Pacers to 12 wins and 8 losses to the start of the season, while for the Los Angeles Lakers, they are now 7 wins and 12 losses to the start of the season. Yes, the Celtics were also in action this morning, and it was a blowout win rather for the Celtics over the Charlotte Hornets. Quite comprehensive, it must be said. 140 to 105 points that ended a 35-point margin for the Boston Celtics. You had Jason Tatum leading the scoring for them with 22 points and a season-high 15 assists as well. You had Smart with 22 points, 15 assists. Jason Tatum with 35 points, I beg your pardon. Malcolm Brogdon with 21 points. Derek White as well with 15 points as the Celtics ran riot right there against the Hornets. Talisman Jaylen Brown couldn't play in this one, and that's as a result of stiff neck, but he wasn't the only one missing for the Celtics. You had Al Horford as well battling with a stiff lower back, and as a result of that, couldn't play in the match itself. The run definitely continues for the Celtics in terms of their impressive start to the season. They are now 17 wins and 4 losses to the start of the season. Definitely looking to repeat the feat they achieved last season by getting to the NBA Finals, though they lost to the Warriors.